So I'm reading the article regarding Biden's tax plan. And the reason I'm doing this article is because I read it and I don't see anywhere in there that it would include, and I'm going to be specific, 50 cents income. And 50 cents is a rapper who said that he would endorse Trump because he believed that his money would be in trouble and screw the black community. He doesn't care if basically his in his words, he doesn't care if people don't like black people, if the white people don't like the black people. And he's more concerned about his money and and that he doesn't want to pay the high taxes. And he pretty much cherry picked and he just showed the the raises of the taxes when he had screenshot Biden's plan. But however, what he didn't do is he didn't read through Biden's plan to see whom specifically was going to get those raises. And from what I read, it looks to be the people that are in the top earning portion, people who are one percenters. And I was looking at that yesterday in Yahoo Finance, and you can see who the top 1%. Like Bezos, he's the CEO of Amazon. Zuckerberg, he's like actually making a lot more than Bezos. He's the CEO and creator of Facebook, and so these are the top earners, one percenters. In other words, like the wealthiest, like millionaires and billionaire status. And then you have New Yorkers and Californians, and so I guess Zuckerberg would be considered in the Californian because it said that he was in the California region because it had all of the one percenters mapped out. And so I'm going to read this article and then I'm going to let it go. But what I was saying here is it's more important that people read through things before they make assumptions and start jumping on a bandwagon. So by 50 Cent being popularized by some and people making assumptions and they see him, people who are not really into reading through things and they make snap judgments may have made bad choices or poor choices based on his comment. And so I'm going to read through this and basically lay out specifically what Biden's tax plan entails. And so it says Biden's cave-shaped tax plan, earners under 400,000 could see tax cuts, not tax raises, tax cuts, but rates could spike to as high as 62% for richer, read it, richer Californians and New Yorkers. So those are some of the two places for right now that they're focusing on. So Joe Biden's tax plan would see the highest earners in California and New York City paying as much as 62% in combined federal and state taxes, while the top earners in New Jersey could face a combined rate totaling over 60%. Top earners, top earners, not people who want to be in the top earning, not people who are rapping about having a bunch of money, but they actually don't have any money, or they're bankrupt or broke, or they're struggling to keep the little money they do have. These are the people who are top earners. So top earners in New York State could pay slightly more than 58% tax rate. These calculations from the Tax Foundation come as discussions related to taxes on the wealthy have picked up steam, with the election now just 2 weeks away. So, an analysis in September by the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business budget model concluded that households earning under 400,000, and so this might be somewhere in the range that 50 Cent maybe, won't see, people earning this won't see taxes increase under Biden's proposal. So if he had read through this, he would have known this. So high income earners in states such as California and New York could be hit the hardest from Joe's tax plan if he wins the race for the White House. And so these people that earn that kind of money, they're hit higher, but if you see what kind of money they're earning, it really should not make even a dent in what they're earning, because they're earning this yearly. This is they're the top income earners, and so there are companies that are earning this, and you can see that some of them are so wealthy that they get so high up, they buy other shares and then they sell off shares of stock of some, like what Bezos did within his own company. And so people who are super ultra wealthy should pay more in taxes, I believe, because they can afford to do so. A lot of times some people will try to evade it, but it shouldn't make much of a difference because these people are earning like well over 400,000 a year. These people are like in like some of them most times are beyond millionaire status. They're like billionaire and even past that. And so it's basically saying here that taxpayers making over 400,000 in California might have to pay as much as 62.6% combined in federal and state taxes, while top earners in New Jersey could face a combined rate totaling over 60%. According to the study released on Tuesday by Jared Walczak, he's of the Tax Foundation, a conservative-leaning think tank based in D.C. So, excuse me, it's morning time. So, my voice is really crackly in the morning. So, high earners in nearby New York State could pay slightly more than 58% tax rate. So, that mark for residents in New York City could reach 62%. And furthermore, the study concluded that if Democrats win back the Senate, therefore taking majority control of Congress, then Biden administration will be in position to pass legislation that would they'll remove the $10,000 cap on state and local tax deduction. So this would help reduce the tax rates for the high income earners. So the statutory tax rate for high income earners in the U.S. sits at 37% now. Now these are high income earners. They would remove the $10,000 cap in Biden's plan if Democrats take control of the Senate. But they usually only end up paying 26.8% due to loopholes and deductions, per the study. So the Biden campaign didn't return Business Insider's request for comment on the study findings on the candidate proposal. So these combined rates would be the highest since the Tax Reform Act of 1986. And so this is yet but another act that was passed, which reduced the top marginal individual income tax rate from 50% to 28% over 2 years. So Walczak wrote this. And so the all-in federal rates would be the highest since 1981. So these calculations from the Tax Foundation come as discussions related to taxes on the wealthy have picked up steam, with the election just 2 weeks away from the final debate between Biden and President Donald Trump, which they already had. That was on a Thursday evening. So the final debate has already taken place and it's over. You can look at a recap or a pre-recorded version of it. So during the first debate on September 29th, Biden circled back on what he often touts to be the K-shaped economic recovery. In the U.S., economists describe the K-shaped recovery when high-income earners see their income grow, the jobs return. And so whereas middle and lower income earners don't quite see the same results. And so Biden's tax plan is similarly K-shaped, with higher taxes on the higher income earners and lower for the rest. And so this summer, the National Bureau of Economic Research said that the U.S. dove into a recession in February. So simply put, the record-long 128-month streak of economic expansion nationwide dating back to June 2009 came to a close. So millionaires and billionaires like Trump, in particular, in the middle of the COVID crisis have done very well. So that's why you can see him standing up there always saying, oh, the virus is going to go away. And he's got the money to get the medicine. He's around the doctors. He knows how to get access to the vaccines to be the first one to get it, the best ones. And he's in a position where he can do that. But what about people who live in lower income communities? They make lower income. They are not around the best doctors. They're not around the top earners. They don't make a whole lot of money. They're struggling to pay rent. They're struggling to keep jobs. Some jobs, I've learned, are struggling to keep their doors open because they're losing money because of what has happened through this coronavirus crisis. And a lot of those jobs, the smaller jobs, can't afford to pay the workers. So they reduce their workers. Therefore, that reduces the stress of having to pay everyone. So those people are out of work, or they have to be forced to find essential jobs that they probably wouldn't work normally just to pay their bills. And so this is what Trump is not telling people. And so in the middle of COVID crisis, these millionaires and billionaires have done extremely well. So billionaires have made another $300 billion because of the Profilgate tax proposal. And Trump focused on the market, Biden said that night. And he only also focuses on the fact that the data says people are working. He doesn't say what jobs, if they're part-time, if they're essential jobs, which essential jobs you might be put at risk. You have to have PPE, which is personal protective equipment. Those jobs you're going to be in contact with more of the public, which would put you more at higher risk, or you're going to be in environments where you could be working around more workers that are also low income and they're struggling. And so you don't know which one of them are sick. And so everybody has to have temperature checks when they go into those places. So there could be an outbreak that could close that essential place down. And so Trump does not say that. And so these are the things that 50 Cent should have read about. He's forgotten where he came from, of course. And so he makes assumptions on something that he hasn't actually read through. So Biden said that night, but you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and working class towns in America, exactly like what I was saying, how well are you doing? And that is the question. I pretty much laid it out there for you that everybody is not doing as well as Trump says. And so far that he's been in office for 40 years, it's gotten worse. Actually, there's been more homelessness since he was put in office, as a matter of fact. More homelessness through his administration, turning a blind eye and being more concerned about the top income earners rather than the people that are middle class and lower income earners. So Biden previously defined those making 400,000 or more as wealthy. Okay, and so people who make that amount of money, you know, every year are doing well and they're in the wealthier class. So, according to CNBC, but Trump has been critical of Biden's tax hikes. So, of course, because he would be one that would have his taxes increased. And so, naturally, he's going to be critical of it because he doesn't want his taxes to be raised because he's, he's stingy. He's basically a wealthy and he's for the wealthy and he tries to figure out loopholes to not pay taxes. That's the reason why his taxes were audited. That's the reason why he did not want to show what he paid in taxes because he's one of those people that will evade or try to find ways to compensate so he doesn't have to pay taxes. And there are people like that that make a whole lot of money but they don't want to pay anything. They feel that they're entitled to everything and no one else should have it and they don't like to share anything. So the president has claimed that Biden's economic plan would lead to tax increases on the middle class Americans, but multiple nonpartisan analyses have shown that Biden's plan would not result in that. So, for example, an analysis in September in the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business budget model concluded that households earning less than 400,000 won't see taxes increase, while the top 1% might pay an additional 12.4% under Biden's plan. And so nobody making under the amount of 400,000 would have their taxes raised. Period. Bingo. Biden said in May. Let's get people back to work. And so that's basically the article. And if people read more and they pay more attention to what it is that they're looking at and don't make it, snap judgments and really read through. This is out of Business Insider, and I look at Yahoo Finance, I look at the finances, I look at the stock market, and I look at who the top income earners are. So I'm full aware of what's going on, and I also, it helps me to see who would be more apt to not want to pay taxes. When I listen to Trump, talk about that, it makes a lot of sense that you have some people that just don't want to share. They don't feel like they should have to share anything or pay anything. They try to get out of that. And so they'll do whatever they can to not have to pay taxes, even though they make so much money. And then when you see what they take from them and what they're making every year, it's not like they're going to be hurting. The people who are hurting are the lower income earners, the middle class people are hurting because you don't make all that money. And so this is a thing that people need to really look at. And so I'm going to let this video go. So this is basically in regard to 50 Cent and all of the other people who are out there making these crazy videos that are mean. And I know Boyce Watkins is one that sometimes he has done that about, he on one end he'll say that he's nice and kind to black females, but then he'll turn around and he'll say things that are softcore misogyny. And so, and he wants males to lead as well, and so he's in that. And I mentioned his name, yeah. And then there's others. He's not the only one. There are other men that'll look at 50 Cent's statements, and just to be malicious, they're not even realizing they're hurting themselves by doing those things. They think they're hurting black women or they're hurting other people because they think this, oh, we're battling against the black women. So they want to vote for someone else, or they want to say something else. So we're going to say something else against what they say, even though that they're not even reading anything and they're not making sense. And so they'll say these things, and then you have white supremacist people that get on here and they see those fights, and they put fake profiles up to pretend that they're either a black woman or a black male. And they fuel the fights. And so people don't see what's going on. And I feel like Trump has sown the seeds of division around a lot of different people. People who normally would not be really disengaged in politics are now engaged in it because of him, because they don't trust him, or they're enraged, or they're angry because of what they've seen happen. And there's been all these protests and all of this frustration, and it's hurting the lower income communities. People are suffering, and people are dying, people are either getting sick, or they're making sacrifices that they would normally make under this Trump administration because they don't want to lose the little bit that they do have. And so these are the things that the media they've been showing some of this, but they should show more of it. And so I'm going to let this go. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much for listening. I'm going to add at the end of this, I really um, do look at politics, but I don't look at it from a way where I'm trying to be divisive, but I do look at it in terms of people's lives, because it's serious, because sometimes one decision that someone makes that make this person makes a whole lot of money, and they're able to sign bills, or veto um, veto different bills, or they're able to bring into fruition laws that could impact millions. These are the things that I've really looked at and paid a close attention to. And I think it took a while, because when I was younger, I didn't really pay much attention to this, because when you're younger, you're looking at the world from a different view, unless you're somebody that's into poli-sci and you're into these things. But other than that, you're looking at things from a whole nother perspective, because you're bright, and you're just learning the world, and you're just trying to take everything in. But then when you start seeing how these things affect your life as time goes by, and you have your own set of experiences, you realize there's something more at work here. So having said that, I'm gonna let this go. Like, comment, subscribe once again. Thank you for listening.